Hello, welcome to another tutorial video. Now we're going to be looking at the planning of a C grade response to Part B of the AQA Modern Texts exam, literature exam. So just to go through the mark scheme again, first of all I'm going to focus on here is B, because B is mainly attributing to from the AB element that I did. B is mainly attributed to via the AO4. So all the AO4 stuff is what we really want to try and hit in this question. It's where we're going to get the most marks. So I'm going to focus on them out of the mark scheme. So first of all, we have to have a thoughtful consideration of themes. So we have to be discussing certain themes that actually come across. And obviously the themes are really related to the context, as you'll see in my plan, which I'll go through in a second. We also need to have a considered and qualified response to the context. That means we're going to talk about the time in which it was set, the things that influence the writer, and we've got to make sure that we're saying things in a sensical and logical manner. And we have to show a thoughtful selection and consideration of the details to support what we say. So again, we've got to pick out the right evidence and make sure that we are accurate in what we're putting. Now, it's really important to remember that whatever is in theme-wise, the extract for Part A is going to be linked somehow to Part B. And the reason it's put that way is obviously to give you kind of a cajoling head start, just to kind of warm up. Because remember, you know, the exam board's on your side, they want you to do well, so there's kind of knowing that it's tied. It should generally, in a lot of the examples I've seen anyway, forgive me if they decide to change their minds all of a sudden, it's generally linked. You've got the ideas that will come through in this extract are ideas that you can use to write about in the second one. But they don't want you to write about the context in the first one, they only want you to write about it in the second one. So we'll look a little more closely at that as we go through. Remember, it's not a hard and fast rule, it's just generally I've always seen it that way, so I presume it's always going to continue that way. Anyway, so our question is, how does Steinbeck use their relationship, George and Lenny, in the novel as a whole to convey ideas about America in the 1930s? So we have to see things about their relationship and how it becomes more, how it shows us different things about life and times in America of the 1930s. Now, how you're going to go about answering this, the basic idea of what you want to do is you want to pick a context area, and then you want to show how it's shown, or who it's shown through, should be, and the writer's intention with it. So from the relationship between George and Lenny, first thing I get to do in my context area is I fully understand that, you know, this is about the American dream and people chasing the American dream. How's it shown? Well, it's shown through George and Lenny, and the writer's intention to show how false it is and that it's a widespread fallacy, that people are generally entrapped or ensnared by the idea of the American dream, and not a lot of people get it, and that's still very relevant today. Okay, my second context area that I'm going to be looking at is the treatment of women. I use their relationship is a great vessel to actually show us the treatment of women in the 1930s, because George, who's the kind of teacher, parent figure, in his relationship with Lenny, he's always warning him off Curly's wife, telling him bad things about women, you know, reducing women to sexual objects when he talks about them in the cat houses, etc. So that's the context area that I'm talking about, the treatment of women at the time and how it wasn't very right. And how this is shown, generally through Curly's wife. In this C grade response, I'm only going to be talking about Curly's wife, but if I were to write in a higher context, you know, I'd make any other references that I could as well. And you'll see that one of the main differences between the C grade planning for this and A grade planning is just the levels of how it's shown and the nuances of the context area and the writer's intention. So here we've got 1, 2, 3. In an A grade one, I'd probably have a couple more here, a couple more here, a couple more here, just to really stretch and explore my response. But here for a solid C, we're just going to go 1, 2, 3 and make sure we get it. Again, the context area again for my last thing I'm going to look at is friendship, the idea of friendship between George and Lenny in their relationship, and how it's shown is again through George and Lenny, and the writer's intention is to show it's unnatural with the time. Now, just to reference what I said about this linking to section A, if we look across here, well, the American dream, well, where do I have reference to the American dream? Well, definitely I've got it in here. They always pick an extract, you know, that's very rich, so you can get a lot out of it, because obviously they want you to analyze it. In fact, with a novella like Of Mice and Men, you could pick anything and get a lot out of it. It's that good, but take my word for it. Sorry, don't take my word for it. Read the damn thing again and enjoy it more. And here we have discussion of the treatment of women. So here we have about this section here and this section here. And also with regards to the friendship, the idea that's coming through about friendship of the time, obviously they're the only people that have a friend on this place. So even the fact that they're just talking at the beginning, even the fact that they're just talking, that's obviously really important, because they don't have, not many other people have that close relationship where they will be talking this way. And actually that's really stressed to us through the other examples of conversations that George has with Candy and with Slim. Both of them have, in the descriptions of how they actually go about it, they both have kind of barriers that they have to overcome. We have to wait for someone to be approving, or for someone to feel comfortable, or for someone to realize that someone's let their guard down, or for someone to draw a word out of someone. And that's all, I think, references from the actual text. So look for that, be very aware of it. And that's actually a sidetrack, sorry, Paul. So just to really go over that again, we've got, remember, it's what context area you're talking about. So generally a kind of a theme in a context, or context theme in a context, should I say, how it's shown or who it's shown through, and what the writer's intention with it. And in the next part, we'll actually go about looking at this C grade response, and then an A grade response, planning a response to this question.